And welcome back to Deathbattle Prediction. This thumbnail is made by Super Mechasonic or Super Mechasonic fan, I believe it was, on DeviantArt. It's a good thumb. I can't make thumbnails like this, so I appreciate anytime there's a thumbnail available to use and give the proper credit to it. So the Deathbattle went honestly, and I had to redo this video, so I'll bring it up again, but I'll try to be quick about it. So look, I'm not someone who gets rattled easy or anything like that. It's almost impossible to actually insult me. It's a lot easier to get under my skin and irritate me though, especially when people act, I think, just kind of right without really thinking or make an opinion about something I said without actually hearing what I said. And this kind of happened with the Asta versus Deku thing, where I was allegedly, I'm not even allegedly, I'll admit, I was lowballing Asta a little bit, but I am fully aware that in the fandom, most people think Asta would win. Now, like always, I won't give away the actual result of the fight. But needless to say, my guy didn't win. So I guess you can kind of infer from that. But here's the thing. People kept getting on my case about, dude, you haven't read past this. You were so low. He gets so much stronger. And I had one person say, oh, you haven't even read past this, though your opinion's null and void. And look, I flat out said that I knew he got stronger than where I was in the manga. I knew that. Now, did I not go into great detail about how much stronger he was and the abilities he had? Sure, maybe I didn't do that. That's totally on me. But you know what? Think before you're right, because it really comes off like people heard what I said in one part of the chapter or one part of the video and then just completely ignored or didn't even finish watching the rest of the video to kind of gauge my opinion. So they were basically giving their opinion on my opinion when they hadn't even heard my full opinion. Which, if you're going to do that, just don't even comment to begin with then. There's no point in it. It's useless. So look, that's just it. I find people who kind of try to argue at that comment at that point really irritating. Really irritating. Either way though, we have the season finale, and it's one though that has been, deep within the fan base for a long time, deep within the discussions for many a time. And that is, which fusion is stronger, Vegito versus Gogeta? And look, this is a really tricky one to guess. I mean, you're going to get people who argue, saying, oh, they're stronger, this is stronger, this is stronger. But the problem is that I assume we're going to have to be looking at all continuities for this. Because these are fusions that exist over the realm of all the continuities. Through standard Dragon Ball Z, where Vegito got introduced and Gogeta got introduced in the movies. GT, where Gogeta was actually introduced within a series. Dragon Ball Super Heroes has, I believe, both of them. I know Vegeto's shown up a couple times. Dragon Ball Super, Vegito and Gogeta showed up in both occasions there. And in the manga, I don't think we've had Gogeta in the manga. We've only had Vegito. So this gets really tricky because we do know what the multiplier on the Platara is. It's A times B, and that can even be increased further depending on what their the relation to the two people is. It can also weaken someone depending on the compatibility, like how the old Kai happened. But with Vegeta and Vegeta and Goku, we know that's not the case. But the Fusion Dance multiplier has never actually been stated. And that makes it really tricky. There is also the problem that for a normal person, the Vegito or the Platara should last an hour. With Vegito, we know it didn't even last. I can't remember how long they said. I think it lasted only like 15 minutes or something like that. Because it couldn't handle the power output that Super Saiyan Blue was producing. And in the manga, they do state that when using the final Kamehameha, Vegito briefly was stronger than Beerus. Now, I don't know if they'll go that far to say he's that much stronger overall, but they do say that. But seeing as they'll probably be looking at just about every bit of lore they can, there is that. But then Gogeta, the fusion dance we know for a fact only lasts 30 minutes. And that's assuming you don't have control, or really good control, or something, or don't go into a higher form of power that just drains the time frame even more. Standard Super Saiyan alone, as far as we can tell, does drain the time a little bit. We can know this because of when Gotenks turned into Super Saiyan when he first transformed, or let me rephrase that. When Gotenks first fused while Super Saiyan to go challenge Boo, the fusion immediately ran out. So either he took a half hour to find Boo, or it ran out, or probably ran down quicker. Now, how much quicker is up for debate, but at Super Saiyan 3, Gotenks only lasted about 5 minutes. But the only evidence we have for Super Saiyan God Ki in Super Saiyan form is with Gogeta in Dragon Ball Super Broly. And as far as we can tell, there was no real issue with holding the form. The form didn't run out. Now, we don't know how long that fight in their time was actually happening. It may have really, because they were moving so fast, it may have only happened within a matter of seconds to a few minutes. But still, it's, because of the way Super Saiyan Blue works, it is about ki control, so that could be an argument to why the fusion was holding better with Super Saiyan Blue than something like Super Saiyan 3. In fact, that actually makes a lot of sense now that I say that, because of the obvious drawback that comes with Super Saiyan 3 of you're just constantly leaking out ki, whereas Super Saiyan Blue is about control. In terms of power output, though, that's a problem, because we have no idea what the power output of either of these guys really is at their highest. And ultimately, we don't know how much stronger, say, Beerus is than Broly, if in fact Deathbattle is going to say that Broly is weaker than Beerus. Because Beerus would be the benchmark that we can go by. Broly / Beerus are the benchmarks we can go by, at least by Deathbattle standards, in terms of what these guys' power outputs is. Because, honestly, their attacks don't mean a damn thing, except for the fact that Gogeta's got one technique that Gogeta doesn't have, and Gogeta can do the sword thing, and as far as I know, Vegito can do the sword thing. As far as I know, Gogeta can't. That's it. The attacks probably don't matter at all. They all have the same relative techniques otherwise. So, oh man. And then they're gonna have to gauge, and then they're probably gonna gauge how strong the fusion ultimately was compared to other opponents. Because I believe, like, alternate versions of the Heroes, Goku and Vegeta turned into Vegito Super Saiyan 4. I think that was against Cumber. Whereas we had Gogeta against Omega Shenron, and he completely decimated Omega Shenron. But Cumber, from everything we can tell, is kind of a stronger opponent than Omega Shenron, but maybe not. I don't know. Look. I'm going to actually say the thing I don't think I would have said maybe, I don't know, a couple years ago, based on how I was there. And maybe since how I did it the last time. Because I did do a versus years ago. And it was in my earlier days. I'm going to say Gogeta. And I'm going to say Gogeta because they do seem to provide a bit more feats for Gogeta overall. Because Gogeta has appeared at least three times that I can think of off the top of my head. He's appeared in, he's obviously the movie, which gave us a good showing of him, GT, and the original movie. Now, the original movie, admittedly, he just took a punch and had an attack that blew out the evil in someone. That was it. But the other two, he had a solid showing. Vegito, we have technically 3 to 4 showings for. But the sad thing is, Vegito. Vegito has actually never won a fight. I think that might be a big difference here, at least from how they might look at these characters. Vegito has never actually won a fight. He was beating just about all of his opponents for a good while. I can't remember how the Cumber thing worked out because I don't watch Heroes, but he did not beat in either the manga or the anime. Merge Zamasu. The fusion ended before that happened. And he didn't beat Super Buu because he had to go in and stop them. Otherwise, he could have easily. We also got to take in personality to account, too. Vegito tends to be a bit more arrogant from the little we've seen of the difference in their personalities. Although Gogeta in GT is very much the most arrogant among them. But Super Gogeta wasn't really that arrogant. In fact, Super Gogeta was very much on task. Whereas Vegito seems to kind of screw around just a little bit, especially when there's a giant gap in power. Now, against Fusamasu, he didn't screw around. So the problem here is, and people always argue this with me, but I think it still holds true. Even though they are a fusion of the personalities, it's clear that one personality is kind of overriding the other in terms of how they perform just a little bit. And I think, honestly, that can be kind of seen in their names. Vegito starts with Vegeta, and then ends with Kakarot, or Goku. And then Gogeta is Goku and Vegeta. So, and honestly, when you really look at it, I always like if you split Gogeta's face in half, and you look at at least this would be your left side, which his right, your left, you can see Vegeta's face, and then you can see Goku's face. I always liked it, and it's true, you can. Whereas with Gogeta, that is definitely more of a Gogeta. I keep doing that. Vegeta, that's definitely more of a blend of the two looks. Excuse me. But it also shows off in their clothing a little bit too, where yeah, it is Goku's gi, but it's in Vegeta's colors with and it's inverted plus his gloves and feet. Whereas, to be fair, with Gogeta, that's just the standard Metaborean look. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Gogeta. He displayed more reality-shattering powers, as we've seen. And even if we lowball them down to their performances against their respective opponents, honestly, Gogeta was thrashing Shenron much harder than Vegito was thrashing Boo. Boo was actually able to get a couple attacks in on Vegito every now and then, but most of the time Vegito was in complete control. Whereas Gogeta completely owned and decimated Mega Shenron. Now, granted, that was Super Saiyan 4 versus just standard Super Saiyan, but at the same time, Omega Shenron, it was leagues beyond Super Buu. It was leagues beyond Buuhan in terms of power. So, I don't know. I mean, look, it's again, this is one of those ones where I'm not really going to argue what your opinion is, because I don't think there's a wrong answer, really. I mean, there's going to be a winner, obviously, but in terms of who that winner is, I don't think we're really going to be able to. I don't think there's any real definitive answer. Deathbattle will try to give us one, but I don't think anyone's opinion, until they really kind of give us a breakdown, is going to be wrong on this. Until then, though, what do you think? Who do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This really is a Sophie's choice. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you folks for the next one, and have a good one.